Welcome to yoga. My name is Nicola. Today's class is all about getting back to the basics. So what I will be doing throughout this class is showing you the modifications, the most basic options. And the reason I'm doing this today is because I do hear a lot from people. They can't do yoga, they're not flexible, it's too hard, they don't know what they're doing, they're afraid to try it. So hopefully by doing this practice, you will become familiar with yoga. We'll keep it at the most basic level. And if you do this practice a couple times, you'll become familiar with yoga, you'll become familiar with your body, you'll become familiar with how to modify things. And if you have been practicing for a while, feel free to just kick it up a notch. You'll probably know what you're doing, you'll be familiar with the postures, you'll be familiar with your own body, so feel free to take it to another level. But I'm hoping to, reduce the fear of doing yoga. Again, I always say it's not about being in pain, it's not about forcing yourself into these pretzel moves. It's about listening to your body and making it your own practice. I will be using a rolled up towel. If you happen to own a yoga block, this will also work, but I know everybody has towels in their home. No excuses. Just grab one, put me on pause, grab one, roll it up. And then whenever you're ready, find a comfortable seat with a straight spine. Now, do you have to sit cross-legged? No. If you're more comfortable with your legs stretched out, or perhaps laying on your back, that's also an option. We will be moving onto the back today, so if you want to lay on your back right now, go for it. So I always start with a centering, which is your opportunity to slow down the breath, slow down the body, focus the mind. So we'll be coming into the Ujjayi breaths. So to achieve this breath, you just kind of create a slight constriction in the throat as you breathe. The same as if you went to fog a mirror and you kind of make that sound with your throat. So you want to achieve a similar sound, but we'll be breathing slowly, deeply, evenly. Try to inhale and exhale through the nose if you can. Or at least inhale through the nose, maybe exhale through the mouth. Belly is soft. Breath is flowing freely and easily. If you're not sure if you're making the Ujjayi sound correctly, no worries, just breathe. Allow belly to expand as you inhale. And draw belly button towards spine as you exhale, just to help fully expel all that air, making room for the next full breath. And just keep in mind as you move through today's practice that as long as you can breathe slowly and evenly, you're doing just fine. If you're catching your breath, holding your breath, perhaps it means you're trying to do something that your body's not ready for. So listen to your own body. Take this moment to check in with yourself. You may be working with injuries, limitations. Just pay attention to those areas and be prepared to modify as needed. Take care of yourself. Give your body what it is asking for. Just take a couple more breaths here. And then just allow the breathing to be natural. We'll lay down on the mat. So just come lengthways on your mat here. Keep your knees bent and just slowly make your way down. Settle yourself in, draw your feet towards your glutes. This will give support to the low back. We're going to bring arms by our side. As you inhale, arms will just reach overhead and your low back will most likely disconnect from the mat. Just allow that natural arch. As you exhale, push low back into mat, engaging your core just a little bit. Inhale, arms reaching overhead, low back disconnects. Exhale, pushing low back into mat. Just continue with a few more. Just going with the flow of your own breath. Perhaps I'm breathing faster or slower than you. That's okay. You go with your own rhythm. Let's just do one more. Bringing the arms down with the exhale. The next inhale, just lengthen out your legs. Reach the arms overhead and just pause here for a full body stretch. Maybe tucking the chin slightly, stretching out back of neck. And then slowly sweeping your arms by your side, just bring that left knee in and hug it towards your chest. Keep your left hand on your kneecap and release your right hand to the floor alongside you. Just make some slow circles with this leg. Try to keep the leg fairly passive. Use your hand to guide those circles. Obviously, any pain in the hip area, reduce the size of the circles or perhaps just keep that leg hugged in. If you are circling, pain-free, go ahead and circle in the opposite direction. And then just pause once more, hug your knee in. We'll just work slightly into the hamstrings here by extending the leg. If this is as far as you extend, this is as far as you go. Extend and bend. There's no need to straighten the leg coming into some split. Just extend your leg till you feel a sensation in the hamstring of stretch, not discomfort. And then just bend that knee once more. Bring the left hand by your side, take right hand to knee, and we'll guide this knee over across towards the right. I want you to keep your knee in line with your hip, and perhaps just bring the toe down to the floor. If you need support, you have that rolled up towel. You can bring it under your knee or your foot. And we'll just take a couple of breaths here. It's fairly early on in the practice, so we don't want to twist too deeply here. Keep your gaze up towards the ceiling. And then slowly back off. Extend the leg long, extend arms overhead, big inhale breath. Exhale, gather in the right knee and just hug it towards your chest. Maybe you stay here, or maybe you just begin some gentle circles in one direction. Releasing left hand down to mat, keeping right hand on your kneecap. And just pausing at some point and taking those circles in the opposite direction. I should mention, if your low back is not comfortable, you do not have to have the left leg extended long. You can keep that leg bent and enjoy the circles with a bent leg. Make your low back comfortable. And pausing, perhaps you keep this left leg bent with foot on the floor as you extend and bend the right leg. So yes, some people can extend this leg, bring their other leg over their head. That's not you, it's not you. No worries. Maybe you look like this today. Maybe that's a good stretch for you. And that's exactly where you should be. Bending your right knee. If you can, now do elongate that left leg. And just guide your right knee over towards the left. Again, you have a towel or a yoga block. You can place the towel under your toe if your toe doesn't make it to the floor. And just keep your knee at hip height. Enjoying the twist, maybe both arms at shoulder height, looking up towards the ceiling. And then just slowly rolling on to your back. Perhaps gather both knees in one more time and just gently rock from side to side. And from here, just kind of roll on to one side. Take your hand, your opposite hand, and just push yourself up, finding a seat. Fake it till you make it, right? It doesn't matter what you look like on the journey, as long as you make it to your destination, which is seated on our mat. So I'm going to come into staff pose here. Traditionally, your legs are straight with feet flexed, sitting tall, shoulders back, hands resting on the mat. You have a towel. If your hamstrings are tight, just place the towel under your knees. And of course, if you need to bend your knees more than this, just place your feet flat on the mat. And now, ta-da, hamstrings are released a little bit more. So we'll take a small forward fold from here. We're going to keep the spine long and just tip forward. Perhaps you go 1 inch forward, then that's where you go, no worries. If you're more flexible, you're more familiar with yoga, you want to lean forward and round your spine here, go for it. I will stay here because I'm going to be with you showing you the basics. Trying to reduce the fear of yoga. Let's just take one more breath here. And come back up nice and tall. Remove your towel. So we'll be coming into a cross-legged position if that's comfortable for you. I will be turning here, just so you can see me better. We'll be coming into some seated movements of the spine. So if you prefer to be in tabletop on hands and knees, you're familiar with yoga, that's where you'll go. Otherwise, remain seated. Some people's knees bother them a lot when they're kneeling down. You can stretch your legs out or even bring your legs in front of you, however they're most comfortable. Remember, you always have your trusty towel. And we'll just come into some cat-cow. So as you inhale, just bring the chest forward, kind of bring your shoulder blades together. Maybe look up slightly, and you'll just notice that your tailbone is kind of sticking out in the back. And then as you exhale, rounding the back, your tailbone will tuck under, your shoulders come forward, your chin tucks, coming in to cat. Inhaling into cow, or sometimes referred to as dog. Some people say cat dog. Exhale, finding that cat. Just working back and forth here, moving through the spine, helping lubricate the spine. Very important as we move through life to have a supple spine. These 6 movements of the spine that we'll be doing today will really help. Give one more inhale breath. Exhale, round the spine. And pause there. If you're on your hands and knees, just pause. If you're seated, take your fingers, interlace them, and push your arms forward. Just enjoy one more breath here. Inhale, reach up tall. Exhale, hands come down. If you're on your knees, just come to a neutral spine. And we'll be just taking the spine side to side. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, lean over to the left, placing left hand on mat, bringing right hand overhead. If you're on your knees, just go side to side, making a little C curve with the spine. If you're seated with me, just push through the fingertips here. This is not about collapsing over. It's about expanding this right rib cage. If you have sensitive shoulders, you can maybe place your hand behind your head. Taking one more breath here. Inhale, reach both hands up. Place your right hand on the mat. Lean over to the right. Sending your breath to this left rib cage area. You will hear me say that a lot. Right now, we can send the breath into the ribs because the lungs are right here. Sometimes I'll use the hamstring. Send your breath there. Clearly, you're not actually breathing into the hamstring. It's just a visual. If you think about sending breath, it sends energy that way and will help it release, relax, just help you get a fraction deeper into the posture. One more inhale, reach up tall, arms come down. So now we'll be finding a spinal twist. If you're on your hands and knees, you can come into thread the needle. Just do one side for a few breaths, then the other. If you're seated, inhale, sit nice and tall, and as you exhale, just take your right hand to the outside of your left knee. And on your exhale, just begin to twist. If it's okay in your neck, you can also look back. But you can just twist minimally until your back is feeling a decent twist, and keep your gaze towards the front. As you sit holding the twist, think about sitting a little taller as you inhale, twisting a fraction more with each exhale. Little micro movements that will help you just get a little deeper into the twist. Deeper is a relative term. If you're only turning an inch, deep is another quarter inch. Inhaling, just release the twist. Pause here for a breath. If you're on hands and knees, now's the time to switch sides. And then go ahead and twist to the opposite side, sitting nice and tall as you inhale, and working into your version of the twist with your exhale. Take one more breath here. Inhale. Exhale. Release your twist, coming to face front. And from here, we'll just drop chin to chest. Just allowing the weight of the head to stretch out the back of the neck. And we'll just come into some half circles here. Inhale as you bring your chin to one shoulder. Exhale as it passes across your chest. Inhale as chin comes to opposite shoulder. Just working back and forth here, side to side. Just doing some neck rolls. Just go once more either side. And again, just pause in the center with chin towards chest, just allowing gravity to work here. Don't force your chin down, just let the weight of your head create a little expansion to the back of the neck. And then just bring your gaze back up. We will briefly come onto hands and knees. You have a towel. If you need some padding, just unroll the towel and just kind of make a little pad for your knees. Bring hands a little forward of your shoulders and about mat width apart, so they're coming towards the front corners of your mat. Bring your toes together, knees apart. And just begin to sink your hips down, but don't come all the way back. We're coming into puppy. Bringing forearms down and then resting head on your mat. Now if head doesn't rest comfortably on your mat, if you didn't use your towel for your knees, you can place the rolled up towel under your forehead, or maybe just stack your fists, or use one fist to support your head. Breathing into that area across the upper back. And we'll be making our way into child's pose from here. So you'll just be sinking your hips further back. Your hips might make their way all the way back to your heels. Your arms are stretched out, forehead on the mat. If that's not comfortable, if you need support for your head again, perhaps just make some fists with your hands. And if you still have your rolled up towel, you can place it kind of between your feet and kind of sit on your towel, if that helps. Or maybe place it this way on top of your feet and sit on the towel. So just again, fake it till you make it. Just make sure that once you're in the posture, you can just relax and let go. Child's pose is a very restorative posture. You can even bring your hands behind you if you're not using them to support your head. And just rest them palms up next to your feet, allowing shoulders to drape forward. So again, just make this your own. It doesn't matter what you look like, as long as you're comfortable. You're able to rest, you're not feeling tension in the shoulders, in the jaw, you're breathing slowly. And then just bringing your hands back out front. If you had a towel, just remove it. Briefly coming back onto hands and knees, spreading fingers nice and wide. Bring knees parallel. Hook your toes, and we'll be preparing for downward facing dog. So just begin to lift your hips up and pause with your knees fairly bent. Push into the palms of your hands so your chest pushes a little back towards your thighs. Maybe you stay right here. Just think about drawing your shoulder blades down your back and wrapping them forward. It's a very subtle movement. It's going to turn your armpits slightly inward. This will just help support the spine. If you do have more flexibility in the legs, you can begin to straighten your legs, pushing your heels towards the mat. And I say towards. Your heels do not have to contact the mat. Mine happen to, but you could look like this. You could look like this. Your version of downward dog. Just breathe. If you feel the need to move the legs around, come up onto the tiptoes. And just gently push one heel then the other towards the mat.
It's kind of a walking motion, sometimes referred to as walking the dog. No pet required. And then just coming to stillness. We'll be walking the feet forward again. If you have a generous bend in the knees, no worries. Just walk your feet forward, keeping legs bent. And kind of dangle here in a forward fold. Now if immediately you're saying, I can't do a forward fold, my sinuses bother me, I have high blood pressure, glaucoma, any other limitations, just come up to jackknife. Again, legs can be bent. Just in this posture, your head and heart are at the same level. Takes less pressure off the head, less pressure off the sinuses. If you're okay folded forward, just keep your knees bent, rest your belly on your thighs. And just let the arms drape loosely. The more you practice, the more you just release into this posture, perhaps you can work on straightening your legs a hair more. And then bringing hands to shins or thighs, we'll all come up to jackknife. Again, remembering knees. They should always be softly bent, but they can be more generously bent. Just taking a couple of breaths here. Transitioning from a forward fold to a standing position. We want to take it slow so we don't get dizzy. Should feel a pretty good stretch in the glutes and the back of the legs. Even with your legs bent, you will still feel that stretch, but you should not be uncomfortable. Take one more breath, and then just slowly make your way upright. Landing in mountain pose, roll your shoulders back. Palms of the hands can face forward. Find a little tuck to the pelvis. Make sure shoulders are directly above your pelvis. Leg muscles are engaged, legs feeling strong. Tadasana, mountain pose. And from here we'll come into some sun breaths. So inhale, reaching your arms up, bringing palms together. Exhale, pushing arms down till the hands make it down to your thighs. Inhale, reach up tall. Exhale, sweeping arms down. And continue with your own breath. Try to create a little bit of a resistance with your own arms. Legs are strong. Glutes are engaged. Pulling belly button in to engage the core. That big transverse abdominal muscle, that band of muscle that goes around our abdomen. We'll do one more and then we'll add on. Inhale, reach up tall. Exhale, pushing arms down. Adding on half sun salutations. Inhale, reach up. Exhale with soft knees, dive forward, finding that forward fold. Inhale, halfway to jackknife. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweeping arms out and up. Exhale, hands to heart. We'll just do two more of these. So inhale, reaching up to extended mountain. Exhale, dive forward. Hands don't have to touch the ground. You can just bring your hands to your shins. Inhale, jackknife. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweeping arms out and up. Exhaling, hands to heart. One more time. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, dive forward to your own degree. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, pushing into the feet, sweeping arms out and up. exhaling, hands to heart. And again, just pause here, thumbs against chest, probably feel your heart beating. We'll be moving through some standing postures, so just make sure you're towards the front of your space here. Keeping right foot at the top of the mat. Take a fairly generous step back with your left foot, but make sure you can get your heel down to the mat. So if you need to take your step a little narrower, then please do so. And begin to bend your front knee. Now, depending on how wide you stepped, just bend this front knee, but make sure that your knee does not protrude beyond the toes like this. That is not good for your knee joints. They will not like it. Try to keep your knee and ankle in line. And if shoulders are okay, reach arms up for Warrior One, Virabhadrasana One. Shoulders don't like that, you have the option of cactus arms or again, prayer pose. However you're most comfortable, maybe even keeping hands on your hips. Just breathe. This is your strong, assertive warrior pose. Back leg is strong, glutes are engaged. You're sending energy down through that back edge of your foot. We'll be finding Warrior Two. You're more go with the flow warrior. So you might need to shift your feet around a little bit. Open your arms to shoulder height. Pivot your back foot so your toes face the long edge of your mat. Your front toes should face front, and now your hips are open along the long edge of your mat. So this is much more open hip posture, much more go with the flow pose. Arms typically are at shoulder height, but again, if that's not comfortable, pick some arms that are. So we'll be transitioning to reverse triangle. Don't panic, it's really simple. Lower your back arm till your hand just reaches your thigh, and just flip your front palm over, and then come into kind of a side bend by just reaching this arm up. This arm can reach straight up. There's no need to kind of try to bend it behind you. You just want to feel an elongation in this front side of the body, and then straighten your front leg. If you prefer peaceful warrior, a little more leg work, you can keep the leg bent, but reverse triangle will give your leg a break. Taking one more breath here. Just transition back to Warrior Two, arms to shoulder height. And if you straighten that leg, just bend it. So I'll make this transition really easy. Straighten your front leg and just pivot on your heel so your toes face front. And then you'll pivot on this foot so those toes face this way. And then just try to turn on your heel a little bit. So now you're bringing your hips towards the opposite side of the mat. Bending your front knee, just making sure it doesn't extend beyond the toes. Arms reaching up, or pick another option that works with your body. Maybe you stay here in prayer pose. So you should be in Warrior One, facing the opposite direction. And then shifting your feet a little bit, just so that your back toes face the long edge of your mat, opening your hips along this long edge of your mat. Shifting that front foot if you need to. A rough guide is the heel of your front foot should kind of line up with the arch of your back foot. That is not comfortable for everyone, so if you need this front leg to move forward or back here, just make yourself comfortable. Just ensure your knee doesn't protrude beyond the toes. And perhaps you bring arms to shoulder height again. Prayer pose is always an option. Hands on hips, always an option. Lowering your back arm, flip your front palm. Reach up. You will naturally come into a slight side bend. This is Peaceful Warrior. And you can straighten your leg, coming into reverse triangle. This will give this front leg a break. And then bending your front leg, coming back through Warrior Two. And then just straighten your legs and make sure both sets of toes come forward. I'm going to come into a wide angle forward fold just to show you that you do not have to dive all the way down. Soften your knees and just lean forward with hands to thighs. And if you're feeling a good stretch down the back of the legs, stay right here. If you're able to go further, yes, you can come all the way down, you can grab your ankles, you can stretch a little more. Not necessary. You can stay right here. And we'll just take a few breaths. Your torso is parallel to the ground. Soft bend in the knees. Take one more breath and then just come on up and just kind of bring your feet together here. So we'll come back down to the mat. So just turn towards the long edge of your mat and however you can, most gracefully, find a seat. Keeping feet flat on the mat, legs bent. We'll slowly roll back. You can hang on to the backs of your thighs here to help you roll down. And then just draw your feet in to where they naturally land. We'll be working with bridge. So don't force your glutes any further, your heels any further in towards your glutes than where they naturally will land. Think about pulling your tummy down, like push your belly button towards your spine. Again, this will just engage this big band of muscle. We do all have it. And just kind of press your arms slightly into the floor. We'll be coming into a back bend bridge, and we'll just do a rolling bridge first. So as you inhale, just push into the feet and lift your hips. Even let's start with just lifting them an inch or two. And as you exhale, lower them down. Inhale, lift your hips. You do not have to come very high. I'll just move my arms so you can see. Exhale, lower down. Just work with this. You'll feel your thighs engage. Your inner thighs should also be working to stop the legs splaying. If you're ready to come up a little more, then start to roll up and down just a little more. If you know your back is flexible and you can bring your hips as high as you want. And the next time the hips come up, even if it's just a couple inches, we're going to hold. So if you're holding right here, that's fine. You can even take your towel and place it underneath your hips for a supported bridge. If you happen to have a yoga block or a thicker towel, you can support yourself a little higher up, but this is fine. If you're in the full version, it will look something like this. And again, you can actually place a yoga block under your back and still have a supported bridge with your hips high. If you're down here, just resting your hips on your rolled up towel and you're enjoying it, stay right there. Let's just take a couple more breaths. If you do have a towel or a yoga block, go ahead and remove it. And just slowly lower your hips down. And just gather in your knees. Hug them towards your chest, perhaps rocking side to side. Perhaps you like to place your hands on your kneecaps. And make some circles here, taking both knees in the same direction. This will kind of hit all 4 points on your lower back, giving yourself a nice little massage. And then going in the opposite direction. And just again, pause, drawing your knees in. And then we'll bring the legs long. Again, if hamstrings are tight, it could look like this. That's okay. You'll flex your feet a little bit. Just breathe. And just begin to point and flex the legs, the feet. Perhaps circling the ankles. If you're a regular practicer of yoga and you prefer to come into hip stand, half shoulder stand, we're in hip stand. If you prefer to lift your hips, come into half shoulder stand, that is your option. Just be conscious of the neck. You don't want to put too much weight in the neck. Otherwise, just stay here in hip stand. Perhaps bending and straightening your knees. All the same motions can be done in hip stand and half shoulder stand. If you are in hip stand only, not half shoulder stand, you have the option of extending your legs up, your arms up, and just giving everything a good shake. Doesn't matter what you look like, just shake it all off. Think about letting go of anything you no longer need, getting rid of stress. Just let it all hit the ground. Shake it off. And then pausing. If you are in half shoulder stand, you can feel free to start working your way into plow at this point. If you're in hip stand, interlace your fingers and place the back of your head on your hands. Take an inhale breath. And as you exhale, just gently lift the head. You'll bring chin towards chest. Feel the stretch in the back of the neck, down the spine, maybe in the hip area. Remembering legs can be generously bent here. You can even be in a tabletop if you need to be. Release your head to the mat. If you're in plow, just begin to bring your hips back to the mat, landing in hip stand to join us here. And we'll come into blissful or happy baby. You do often see babies in this posture, and they never look miserable. So remember, you should not be in pain. Bend your knees. Try to keep the feet up towards the ceiling. Now you have a choice of just resting your forearms on the back of your thighs, maybe even interlacing your fingers. Just kind of let the weight of your arms work on bringing your thighs a little closer to your chest. One more option is to just take hold of your lower legs here and just gently pull. If you have a little more flexibility in the leg hip area, maybe you can reach your insteps and pull down on your insteps. So probably the Easiest option is right here with forearms on backs of thighs, or perhaps just holding on to lower legs. And maybe just gently rock from side to side here. If you do want to work on the hamstrings a little more, you can bend and straighten the legs. Not necessary, just an option. Just gently letting go of your legs. Stretch them up once more into hip stand. Maybe just circle your ankles a couple more times. And then one at a time, just bending your knees, bringing feet down to the mat. We'll just take a moment to windshield wipe at the knees. And by that, I mean just allow your knees to drop gently from one side to the other. Let them land wherever they land. Do not force your knees down to the floor. It's just about giving a little release to the low back by just gently letting the legs naturally flow side to side. And just bringing your legs to stillness. Keep your left foot down and pick up your right foot. And just bring the ankle just below the left knee. Just take a moment to kind of draw belly button again towards your spine, pushing low back into the mat. And if you're feeling a pretty decent stretch in the hips, stay right here. So remembering that you can always just be here for the next 8 to 10 breaths. If you want a little more, just take your right hand, place it in front of your right knee and ease that knee away from you. Again, you'll feel another level to the stretch, and you can choose to stay right here. So if you're comfortable, if you're feeling a good stretch, stay there. It's okay to stay right here. If you're not feeling much of a stretch and you want more, you can pick up this left foot and begin to draw your left knee in. You are going to feel a pretty good bullseye of sensation in your right hip. If you want more, you can even take your elbow and push the right knee away as you pull the left knee in. Plenty options here. This is figure 4 or reclining pigeon. So if you're taking a class, and whether it's me or whichever teacher decides to lead pigeon pose and tells you you can do the option on your back, this is it. And remembering you can be right here with your foot down and your ankle crossed over, just relaxing here. So just uncross your legs, bring both feet down to the mat, and again, take a moment, windshield wipe at the knees. So again, this is reclining pigeon or figure 4 stretch. It's a little less intense than pigeon pose. Just bringing your legs to stillness, keeping right foot grounded, pick up your left foot. Bring that left ankle just below the right knee. Press low back into mat. Stay right here. Take a breath or two. If you want more, take your left hand and just ease that left knee a little further away. Remembering, if you like the view, you can stop anywhere along the way. If you want to go a little further, pick up your right foot, drawing right knee in, feeling that bullseye of sensation in the left hip, perhaps even using your elbow to push that left knee out. Find your stretch and enjoy it. Yoga should be about finding your edge, but feeling comfortable, breathing deeply, breathing easily, breathing slowly. And just take a moment to see where you might be creating tension in an unnecessary spot. Maybe you're clenching your jaw. Just try to release it. Maybe you're furrowing your eyebrows. Just kind of rub your forehead, release any extra tension. Breathe into the areas of sensation that we're stretching right now. And then slowly lowering your left foot, right foot, unhooking your left leg. And one more time, maybe windshield wipering the knees, or perhaps you just prefer to gather the knees in. And just rock gently from side to side. We will be coming into a knee down twist. Now I gave my air quotes there because we do not have to bring the knee down to the floor. It's just a spinal twist. Everybody's spine is different. Everybody's low back reacts differently. You want to pay attention to your low back. So we'll be coming over to the left side just so that I can give you a better view for this first stretch. So you'll cross right leg over left. Shift your hips an inch or two to the right. Remember our handy towel. Just begin to let these knees fall over towards the left. Now you can bring your knees to rest on a towel or a yoga block. You can choose to roll back a little bit and keep your knee in line with your hip. Or perhaps your knee does come all the way down. All depends on your spinal flexibility, your low back flexibility. I repeat, you should not be in pain. You should be able to breathe slowly, deeply, evenly. So just use whatever props are available. No shame, no judgment. If that's where you are, that's where you are. Gaze can be straight up at the ceiling, or if it's okay in your neck, you can actually turn your head and look back towards your right hand, so you're looking behind you. Just take one more breath here. And then slowly roll onto your back, uncross your legs. Just even out your hips. Take a breath here. Again, if your body is telling you windshield wipe your knees here or draw your knees in, take a moment, take a couple breaths to do that. If you're ready to twist the other side, cross left knee over right, shifting hips a little to the left. Allow yourself to roll to the right. Remember, take your towel or your support with you if you need it, and rest your knee on that support. Gaze straight up at the ceiling or out towards your left hand. Paying attention to this area. If it is in any pain, back off a little bit. And you will find that as you hold this twist, gravity takes effect. You will release, you will relax. You can work a little deeper into the twist. We're not staying here for too long, but if this twist is something that you like, you can always stay here for Shavasana and work on just getting a little deeper if that's what your body's asking for. So yoga's all about paying attention to your body, trying to release tension from the body and mind, enjoying the process, and hopefully just feeling a little better when you're done. So just take one more breath. Exhale and slowly roll on to your back here, uncross your legs. we'll be preparing for Shavasana. If low back needs support, I would recommend keeping legs bent with feet flat on the mat. Just allow your knees to kind of roll inward and support one another. You can interlace your fingers and rest hands on belly, or arms can be by your side. Just maybe rock your head side to side a little bit, releasing any last tension in the neck. Perhaps shrug your shoulders a little bit. If you would prefer to stretch your legs long, just lengthen the legs and just allow your arms and legs to roll out to the side. Or perhaps you're more comfortable laying on one side with your hands supporting your head like a pillow. Or perhaps you prefer to sit for Shavasana. Make yourself comfortable. And just come into some slow, purposeful breaths. Scan your body. Where can you soften? Where can you let go? What can you release? Take an inhale breath. And as you exhale, just melt into the support of the floor. Let bones become heavy. Let muscles become soft. Jaw is relaxed. Eyes are softly closed. Breathing is natural. Just try to keep the mind quiet. Thoughts will enter. Just let them pass. Think of them as clouds on a breezy day. Just note that they're there, but pay no attention. Let them move on. Focus on the sound of your own soft breathing. Focus on the support of the earth beneath you. This is the time to restore, absorb all that positive energy from the workout. Begin to bring your attention back to the present moment, taking in the sounds around you, and noting how the air feels on your skin. Just begin to make some small movements here to awaken the body, whatever feels natural, whatever your body is asking for. Don't overthink it. Small, slow, gentle movements. And if you're not already there, perhaps rolling onto one side. Just bringing your hands under your head or your lower hand under your head. Your top arm can just rest on the floor in front of you. Let's take a few breaths here in the fetal position. Feeling safe, feeling relaxed. And then perhaps using this hand to gently push you up. Just make your way to a comfortable seated position. If you prefer to stay laying down, that is also your option. If you are sitting, just find a comfortable seat. And perhaps bringing hands to knees, touching thumb and forefinger, making a little circle. Eyes stay closed or gaze soft. Breath natural. Just being grateful to yourself for perhaps trying something new today. Or perhaps coming to your mat with a more open mind. Giving this time for yourself to tune in and give your body this treat. Listening to it, giving what it was asking for, and hopefully just feeling a little more at peace, more relaxed, perhaps more confident that you can practice yoga safely, comfortably, enjoyably. And just taking an inhale breath, just gather all that positive energy we created in our practice. Draw it down to your heart center. Turn up the corners of your mouth. Take an inhale breath, exhale. The light in me honors the light in you. Thank you for practicing with me today. Namaste.